night, 3 in the morning. But I'd been kind of thinking of an idea, Cheryl and Lynn, we were thinking of an idea of what we could do to do a theatrical presentation. And Cheryl at one point had mentioned it would be neat, instead of canvases, to use doors. And there's something really neat, and I try to do it with all the artists, about working large. And doors provide that. They're big. Because when you see somebody working on a small canvas, it's very introspective. It's very much their own piece. Not many other people can enjoy the process of watching them do it. When you go to something the size of a door, you're working big. You're using your whole body to paint. You're using a whole different set of muscles. And everybody gets to see it, and everybody gets to say, oh, what a good job you're doing. Isn't that exciting? So we start the door project, and one person comes in with a door, another person, we have a Habitat for Humanity, which is a place where building materials are recycled and the proceeds go to helping the homeless. And so a couple people went there and bought old doors and brought them in. So the doors just began to trickle in, and it started really slowly. And until one or two people really got started on their doors, you could really see the lights kind of start to spark in people's eyes. Really interesting. Nora was one of the first people to start a door. I mean, art to her is everywhere and everything. So she had no problem with the concept. For some people, it might have come to class with a more traditional concept of what art is or should be. So painting on a door, they kind of looked at me out of the corner of their eye a bit. But as they watched other people do it, so Nora was just having a blast, and they just saw the beautiful door that she was making. They saw the beautiful blue door that Sue Rossi was making. People began to... She just started painting the door. She wasn't sure what to do, and so she just started painting it blue. And then she started playing with collage ideas, maybe putting seaweed on it. And we just kept looking at it and looking at it. And it was just so sophisticated the way it was. And I said, Sue, what about just like a scarf hanging on it or something? She says, you know, I like that idea. And she came back the next week, and she had a special hook that she was hanging on it. And she had her chemo cap. And she put the chemo cap with her white... One of the very last doors to be finished, you can see the hearts and the arrows. That's Becky and Oscar Correa. They hadn't been to art class in quite a while, and they said, we're just coming to take a look. We're not going to paint, and we're definitely not going to paint on a door. And I said, okay, well, why don't you just do a doodle? And Becky sat and she did this doodle. I looked at it, and I said, you know, Becky, that's a great doodle. Why not enlarge it? And we just enlarged it and had her trace her own doodle twice on the door, and she and her husband together that yellow hand that you see there, she had just a figure on there. It was much more anatomical. And the arm was coming out to her. And she had gloves on, and she put her gloves, all of them, in the paint. And she put her hand on the door like she was reaching out to touch him, but the door was closed. And she was just, I mean, I just watched it, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I wish I had that on video, because there was all sorts of artists and chaos happening around her, and she was in just this holy sacred space. I mean, she was just gone from all of us. And I just stood there for a moment and just watched her, and she just held her hand there on the door.